Hello, everyone. I'm Melissa Budzinski, and I'm with Gilda's Club, Grand Rapids. I can't seem to say that today. And welcome to our virtual clubhouse. So glad that you've joined us here. If you're new to Gilda's Club, we are a free cancer and grief support community. If you're interested in learning more about us, please just give us a call at 616-453-8300 or look on our website at gildasclubgr.org. We're hoping that everyone is safe and healthy and getting through this winter and this time of staying home and social distancing with some good mental health and some positivity going on in your life. Today I have with me Dana Christian Lee with Embody GR and California. It's so good to have you with us, Dana.
Good morning. Hi, everybody. I miss Grand Rapids so much. So nice to have a connection still.
Yes, it is great. And Dana is the founder and what do you call yourself? The founder and ED, of Embody GR.
Just Embody.
Embody. Thank you. And you're a yoga community that feels better and does good. You also
That's our mantra, feel better, do good. Our mission is to positively impact global health and well-being through offering access to the healing tools of yoga, mindfulness, wrapped around community service, like giving back. Right now, it's a little difficult due to shelter in place. But always that spirit of service and giving back completes the circle.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Well, you're giving back right now by being on Facebook Live with us and sharing share your wisdom. Yeah. So you are a mother of 5 kids, correct?
Yep.
5 kids. Yes, that's great.
2 biological and 3 stepchildren.
Wonderful. All incredible kids. I've met them all. They're really just really special people. And you recently moved back to California because you've been there before, correct?
Jason grew up here. So my husband's from California.
Okay.
I'm a Midwest girl. I grew up in Michigan and I went to school at Ohio State and then moved back to Michigan. And so this is my first time living anywhere outside of the Midwest for any extended amount of time. Yeah. So we've been here for about 18, 20 months. Feels like 500 years with our natural disasters of fire and then the pandemic. So that's been a rough road. It's a beautiful area, but when there's raging fires and you can't go outside because of the quality of air, it makes you realize the preciousness of life and just the simple things like clean air.
Yeah, those things that we kind of take for granted. And here in the Midwest, we really don't have to worry about that kind of thing. And so that's a whole new learning and a whole new perspective shift, it sounds like. Yeah,
it really is. And giving back on the ground here is so much different because we worked with kind of like the fire refugees, if you will. They came into our town for places to stay, and we gave them food, got their animals like little beds and all these things. And when you know that what you're doing can also impact you, like the fire can come to our town as well, it puts a different spin on it because you're in it. So it's been a lot different being of service in an area that's impacted.
Yeah. This sounds a lot like what we do here at Gilda's Club is how we really support one another as we're on a cancer or grief journey, and how that giving back also helps you in your experience, and sharing your strength, and hope can help somebody else who's on maybe new on a cancer journey or on a grief journey. And so that it's just this beautiful, synergistic moment of relationship. Yeah.
Absolutely. We call it the flywheel of perpetual good.
I love it.
Constant upward spiral of evolution.
Oh, very cool. That's a new word. I'm gonna have to
even though it doesn't always feel upwardly rising when you're going through a hard time. But when you're doing it and you're mindfully being present with your situation and actively doing what you can, to heal and to transform, then it's going up. It's a difficult, it's a struggle.
Right, right. Oh, well, that's really good. So Embody and Gilda's Club have been doing this great partnership together where you've been bringing yoga and meditation to our members via Zoom on our virtual clubhouse. And we have just so enjoyed that. And our members are really enjoying that. Just exactly what you're talking about, opening their hearts and deepening into their spirit and their wellness and their healing. It's really been beautiful. We're just so grateful for that, Dana.
Oh, if there are blessings from pandemic, opening up this virtual platform, so many people don't prefer Zoom or online. I think it has been one of the greatest gifts we've been given because we're forced to pivot. And
Yes.
our organization is able to reach so many more people and to
Yeah.
still have a deep relationship, even though it is two dimensional. We know that there are real people out there and we will meet someday.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's a beautiful way to get people together during pandemic. And I think people are actually coming and joining more because they don't actually have to drive anywhere.
Yeah.
They can stay in the comfort of their home.
Yeah. Well, and just think about that is that when you were in GR, that we interacted, you and I, but Gilda's Club and Embody did not interact. And now that you're in California, we interact because of the virtual world. And that really is such a blessing and a miracle, really, and just such a wonderful thing. So we're just really, really grateful for that.
Yeah, totally. It always shows you keep your heart open to what the world has to offer, even when it seems
Yes.
like it's a desperate time.
Yeah, I would agree. So tell me, why yoga? How can yoga help us? I know that we talked just a little bit a minute ago about that, but how can it help us on our wellness journey and support our emotional well-being?
I would say it's so much. For me, yoga is the same as life. Like it's a synonym. How you live your yoga is kind of how you live your life. And what I think that they do for people is it offers them access and agency to their own lives. So often we feel victim to circumstance or situation. And what yoga invites you into is taking personal self inventory, your mind, your body, and your heart, and reflecting on where you are and not necessarily why or how you got there. That's you are where you are. And then saying, how do I want to think? How do I want to feel to have actions that create a result in my life? And so people become the author and not the victim of their own story. So it's super empowering. Yoga isn't just physical poses that people often think it is, like you have to stand and you have to, do X, Y, or Z. Yoga is actually how you hold your mind, your body, and your heart in alignment. And it is linked with your intention or your goal or your focus, put with your breath into your being. And then the body says, oh, thank you. So your nervous system settles down. Your thoughts can kind of chill because, our minds are quite active right now. Your heart can soften and the emotions can shift from perhaps a negative narrative or storyline into one that creates power and healing and transformation. So the mind and the body and the heart aren't separate. We need them as a whole. And people, through different ways, simply breathing or creating an intention, using a bell, using a poem, taking breath, linking it with some motion, just simple motions. Because when people are healing or hurting, sometimes doing more isn't helpful. It's just being mindful of where you are in that moment and meeting yourself with gentleness and tenderness. And with the positive affirmation that I choose to heal, or I choose to know peace, or I choose love or compassion, instead of a situation where I feel powerless or angry or frustrated, like in COVID world. We can't control this.
Right.
But we can take agency over our thoughts and feelings, which are internal, and they often dictate what happens in our bodies.
Sure.
So with positive thoughts and feelings. And then what comes out after that are your actions in the world. How do you show up? Do you come to your yoga practice? Do you take your medication? Do you heal a relationship? Whatever it is that you need to do. And then the result of your life is because of the first three.
Sure.
So
Sure.
that's just a simple way, I think, to describe how yoga works in people's everyday lives. Because a lot of times people think it's, oh, I have to go to a yoga studio. And now
Right.
you don't have those available really. You have online. So I show up to my yoga class or my practice. But what I like to offer is something a little bit deeper that says your yoga and your life aren't separate. So
Hmm.
your breath is a gift, your life is a gift, and how can you harness the power that you have within you to heal and transform yourself and then whatever else in the world that you want to impact.
Sure. And it sounds like too that, I mean, it's just really beautiful. And a couple things is that it sounds like it just brings everything down there's a saying I love to say is I only can control what's inside my hula hoop. But really what you're saying is you can only control what's on your mat, right? And so it brings you to this moment of yourself, like to being in the moment. Um, and with the world being the way it is and all of the changes and then adding that cancer or grief journey on top of that, and so bringing it to a moment of I can control my breath in this moment, I can tap into that, I can control what I'm going to do on my mat in this moment, the stretching
Absolutely.
that I want to do, the the opening I want to do, maybe the bringing it in and nurturing that I want to do, but that I can control that. um, and I love this idea of what's the perspective of how I approach that for myself, because really it does reflect how we approach our own lives and our own issues in our lives and our own challenges. Um, often that once somebody gets a diagnosis, they don't necessarily slow down to think about that. But yoga sort of not forces us, but invites us
Right.
to slow down in those moments.
Exactly. And so when, people say we can control what we think, it's also this idea that I can say, like, I control my breath. Like I breathe in for 6 counts, I breathe out for 8 counts. But also within that control is a gratitude.
Mm,
I am blessed with this gift
mm,
of life. And how I breathe in and out with compassion or with stress is how the body's going to respond. That's going to be the correlated feelings. And then with that, health wise, you're going to have elevated cortisol and hormones that you don't necessarily want in your body. So, yoga helps bring a little bit more homeostasis into your inner being
sure.
because we're not meant to hold all of that in us.
Yeah.
The feelings that come up are real, but what yoga asks us is to pay attention to them, to feel them fully, but then let them go. They don't stay stuck in you.
So it helps us to release, and
Yes,
not just on a mental state or an emotional state, but on an actual physical state.
on a
That
cellular
it help,
level. Mhm.
yeah, that it helps our body to process. So let's say, I'm in chemo and I have all of that, and there's some cortisol also, because there's a lot of anxiety that comes up with that, and that it would help my body to process all of those chemicals and all of that, and to let them go, to release them.
Well, and when we stay tense and we stay like our breath is shallow, which increases the parasympathetics, like, or the sympathetic nervous system to
Sure.
flare. I just had
Yeah.
a tooth done the other day and I had to do my own teaching because I don't like going to the dentist for anything besides getting my teeth cleaned. And
Yeah.
so I had to have all this work done. And my sweet dentist put her hand on my shoulder and said, take a breath. I know you know how to do that. And
Oh.
she knows I'm a yoga teacher. And I was like, oh yeah, thank you for that invitation. So to be able to allow the procedure to happen, I needed to relax because my mouth wasn't opening because my jaw was tense. So it's
Yeah.
amazing what we do, how our physical bodies respond to how we breathe or not, because we oftentimes hold our breath when we're afraid.
Yeah. So it's really reminding me, a beautiful reminder from your dentist. What a beautiful emotional support in the moment, right?
All
But
doctors
that
tell you
also,
that.
then your brain was like, oh yeah, And your body was like, I know how to do this. Let me do it, because you practiced it in your yoga practice, right? And so that's a beautiful example of bringing yoga into your everyday world. Like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to take this breath right now, and yeah, it helps you through a really intense moment.
Well, and just to give everybody the memo that a lot of people don't get, they think that yoga is just relaxing. And yoga actually can bring up some of the most intense emotions or intense like sensations if you're doing a physical practice. And as long as you know your boundary and you take yourself to the edge of your comfort, maybe push it just a little bit, maybe not even at all, but like you need to be able to understand that being with discomfort is the part of life. It's the part of growth. It doesn't take you down. It actually, that resistance creates the opening for healing of your mind, your body, or your heart, or all of them at one time.
Oh,
So
yeah.
being with discomfort is part of the gig. So then at the end, when you like step off your mat or you lie back, Shavasana is the final resting pose. If you're on a mat and you lie flat on your back, you don't sleep, but you like simply let your body rest. That's the moment where it's like, oh, this is where it's relaxing. This is where it all comes together, because the practice does challenge you. Over time, you become more masterful with the discomfort. It's never easy, but it becomes more easeful because you know how to be and breathe with the discomfort. You know how to align your body mechanically, like the way that your body is held in a pose.
Yeah.
And then it becomes more natural to be able to take these poses and this practice again and again and again.
Hmm. What you're talking about is resilience,
It
that it
is.
teaches resilience. Yeah, which is, wow, that's incredible.
And
And really
resilience
that,
creates that sense of you can relax into yourself knowing you can't
yeah,
control outcomes necessarily. You don't know what's
right.
going to happen, but you can control and be grateful for the ability to have the tools to take agency over your own health, your
Yeah,
own well-being, and your own life. And that in and of itself is so empowering, because the
yeah.
only reason yoga really exists is to liberate people
Mm.
from pain and suffering to become who they're supposed to be in the world.
Oh, that's beautiful. So it really gives us agency over our response to whatever stimuli in our life.
Absolutely.
Like your dentist moment, right? Like, yeah,
Yeah, well, there's no
that's
reaction then. It's like, oh, I can
right.
take a breath and respond. So it's kind of like
Yeah,
if, with 5 kids, it's like, okay, I could either yell and like, or I can
yeah,
take a breath and say, okay, tell me more.
yeah,
And that fosters a nurturing relationship instead of a back and
right,
forth reaction. So it's
right,
just like that with yourself, with your thoughts, right? How many times do you want to react to a thought
right.
instead of taking a moment to say, here's my response. So if
Yeah,
you're going in for a checkup, if you don't know what's going to come on the other end of the phone, and we don't know what's going to happen in our world, we can take a breath. And then whatever comes our way, we have presence. And when we have presence, we have the ability to capture our brains and not let our thoughts and feelings run away with us.
right. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, thank you for sharing that with us. Um, that's very deep, and it touches my heart very deeply, and I
Aww.
really appreciate that. Yeah. So
I
I,
appreciate us coming back full circle, and
yeah,
the hula hoop that you talk about, like the hoop of your life, or the yoga mat, like all of your life is within that hoop. It's not that you
yeah,
don't have kids or relationship, but you are your whole world.
yeah,
So how you take care of that hoop of life, that yoga mat of your own self, that then does help inform the quality of your life, of your relationships, and of your being.
I would agree. Yes, absolutely. Beautiful. Well, we're starting to run out of time a little bit, so I'm just wondering, are there a few examples of things we could do for ourselves just in the moment right now that you could show us, and I'll go through with you, of maybe just some ways to ground in, or um, some yoga moves that we could do right here.
What I like to teach people initially, especially if they're new to a practice, is how do I move from or the reaction to the response? So how do I get present? How do I get grounded? How do I get focused? And so I can help you in like 3 minutes. So just
Okay, let's do it.
take a comfortable seat so your spine is nice and long, and have your feet parallel next to each other on the floor. And it often helps. I know it's winter, so you might not want to take off your shoes, but having bare feet often helps because it opens the meridians of your feet to connect it to the floor. If you can go outside, even better. But if you're in a meeting or you need to immediately ground in a conversation, your feet just press down. So push them a little bit and notice what engages. When you push into your feet, Melissa, what do you feel? Let your feet go and then push your feet down. What happens?
Yeah, I feel I tighten up a little bit and I feel stronger. Yeah.
Yes, your core activates. So
Yeah.
notice right here, I'm not pushing into my feet. I just press down slightly and my belly goes in and up and heart lifts. Amazing. That already changes you. Take your shoulders up and back, just roll them out a little and get your head over your shoulders. Good. And if you are out in public and you don't want to put your hand over your heart, you don't need to. But what I love is to be able to put a hand over my heart to feel my heart beating. That is, you're on this earth, you're here, you're now. And then you can simply close your eyes. If you're driving or in a meeting, you just soft focus your eyes. And all I'm going to invite you to do is take 3 slow, deep breaths. Breathe in for 5 counts through your nose. Exhale out your mouth, 5 counts. Slow the breath down. Keep breathing in and out. Feel the earth beneath you. The spirit, your life flow through you. And your mind, your body, and your heart coming together as one. Let your breath soften. Bring both hands over your heart now. And acknowledge yourself. Ask for the support that you need to face your journey today, this moment, right now. And tell yourself whatever you need to hear. I am healthy, I am whole, I am peaceful, I am safe, I am loved. And let that be your breath, let that be your mantra. And anytime you feel afraid, alone, take 3 deep breaths, literally or metaphorically hold your heart and feel yourself held on this earth and know that you are beloved. Together we breathe in. Together we breathe out. And then you can slowly open your eyelashes and release your hands down.
Oh, that was beautiful.
And in 3 minutes, you can totally change how you're feeling, what you're thinking, and then how you may step forward. Just that quickly. It's not easy. That's what I'm saying. It's not easy, but it's easeful. It's a tool. You have to use it. And that's why every week at Gilda's Club, I show up and I offer new tools or I refine the tools and we just get present with each other. We share, we breathe, we stretch, we move, and we feel better and we are able to do good in the world.
Oh, that's great. That is doing good in the world right there.
Right
that
there.
is. Yes.
And I get to do it with you, my friend.
Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you very much. This has been so great to see you and talk with you. And
I know. I'm so thrilled.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for doing what you do and bringing it to Gilda's Club and here on Facebook Live with us. So appreciate that. So grateful for you and all your work, Dana.
It's such an honor, and I am simply grateful to be present with these incredible humans doing this thing called life together.
Yeah,
thank you.
I agree. Yeah. And for all of you out there watching, if you're interested in this program in joining us for yoga with Dana on Thursdays at 2, please just get a hold of us, email us, call us at 453-8300. We'd love to talk with you. If you're new to a cancer or grief journey and you would like to become a part of our community, again, just reach out to us. Everything we offer is free of charge. We're 100% virtual right now. So from wherever you are at, in your hospital room to your room at home, we're happy to have you join us. If you have any questions or comments, or you liked this video, you thought it was helpful, please let us know or share it on your Facebook page. We would love as many people to know about this great program as possible and this great partnership. So that's all I have today, Dana, and I know you have another meeting to get to. And so thank you again, and be well. Blessings to everyone in California and your family.
Thank you. Namaste to you all. And now go get a Sacred Springs kombucha for me, because I am missing that.
Oh, yes, I will. All right. Take care.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Love to your family.
You too.